This is Two Chicks Talkin Flicks, where we review movies. Love them or hate them, someone's got to do it. So enjoy the show. Hi, I'm Sarah, and this is Two Chicks Talkin Flicks and anything else that gets in the mix. And today I am joined with Chris from Cinematic Anarchy. He has been on the show several times. I've been on his show. Hi, Chris.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
It's been a while.
How cold is it in your neck of the woods?
It's below freezing at this point. I mean, we got into the 30s today, but it's been hovering in the teens.
Ooh. I mean, Texas has been pretty cold, but it ain't nothing like the Northeast or the Midwest.
Texas is not supposed to be cold.
We have our days.
I've seen that, yeah.
Literal days, and then nothing. Like before our last storm last week, which was barely an ice storm. It was like 60. And then it went pew. It was weird.
Yeah. We have our days and our months, and then summer tends to cough on us somewhere near July and disappears again.
Yeah, we had something that I've never heard of before. Like every year, a new storm thing happens here. Like one year we had cobblestone ice. Do you know what that is?
I have no idea what cobblestone ice is. You're going to need to explain that.
Basically what happens is that it ices, right? And then the amount of people, or like the heat from people's cars, freeze it. But as it's freezing, it freezes in like these row of clusters. Like basically, you know how when you put your jewelry away, how they have like those bumps so you can like put your jewelry in a jewelry box. Like it basically looks like that. So it's just like bump of ice. So it was freezing in these cobblestone ice structures. And then it would melt and then it would freeze again. So then it would be added cobblestone on top of the cobblestone. And so that was a new thing. And then years later, which was like 2020, we had thunder sleet. So it was thundering. Yeah, but it was also sleeting. And
brought to you by AC/DC.
Right? And it was just this year we had, or like last week, we had lake snow. Or it's lake effect. It was lake effect. So
we get hit by your lake effect snow all the time.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a real snow. It was like this weird concoction of snow just because of the lakes.
Now look at you guys over in Texas inventing new weather patterns all the time, huh?
Yeah, so weird. Yeah. But anywho, so tell the people, any new listeners, what your podcast is about.
Well, Cinematic Anarchy in general is just what it sounds like. It's a very free-form podcast. We talk about cult classics, low-budget movies, films that didn't quite get a decent chance, or things that were not critically acclaimed, regardless of whether or not they happen to have made money. Sometimes those really big-budget films get shit all over by the critics.
Yeah.
So we like to review those kinds of films, and it's not scripted, so when you hop on the podcast, it's just a free-form, ADHD-addled conversation that ends up where it ends up. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
you've been on there, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of how ours is, too. Like, it's not very structured. You know, things come into the conversation, and you're like, how'd we get to butter? I don't know. I have no idea, but that's how it goes.
At one point, we were talking about a movie. Now it's butter. And then the difference between butter and parquet and those old commercials where the Cubs used to speak.
Parquet. So we're actually changing it up again. Me and April, we kind of decided we might want to do some like Sundance movies, things like that. Like movies that are, you know, real small that maybe people haven't heard of before. So if anybody has any suggestions on new movies that have come out but aren't like big blockbuster budget movies, send them to us. Or if you are a director or producer of a film and you want us to listen to or watch the movie, send us a copy, and we will talk about it. But today we're going to do something a little different. So
I'm a little nervous.
Yeah. So April bought me a wheel because I kept saying we should do something with a wheel. And so she bought me a wheel and I put different categories on it. So there's categories for 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, horror, action, drama, comedy, all of those things. But then there's
hold your horses.
Yeah, there's also spots.
I've got a question.
Okay.
Is this an actual physical wheel?
Yes.
Like it's not on your phone. It's not an app. You have a wheel.
It's a wheel. Yeah, a real wheel. It goes. And I put different colors on there, and the colors represent movie cases. So if it's pink, I'd pick one that was mostly pink. And there's also free spaces, so then I could just pick whatever movie I wanted to. So it landed on black, so I had to find a movie that had mostly black on the cover. It landed on 80s, and it landed on drama, which I don't have a ton of drama, so that one was harder to pick, so I did my best. I recorded a TikTok of it, so people can watch what happened.
I should be watching your TikTok because then I'd know what I'm about to talk about, right?
Right? Well, see, I didn't post it. Sneaky. So before we get into those, I took a break. Like people know if they listen to the one after the funeral, our episode, because my mom passed away. And then I was just about to start recording again. And as you can hear, I have a very different voice right now. I have been with bronchitis since right before Thanksgiving, and it has been lingering. And as
leaves you feeling a little froggy.
Yes, and as the weather changes outside, it just keeps coming back. So forgive me if I cough or if you can't hear me or my voice is a little squeaky. It is what it is. It's a lot better than it was. Chris wanted me to come on to his podcast, and I was like, dude, I can't. I couldn't even talk then. We're
still holding on to that movie for you. We're not doing that one until you're ready to come on.
Yeah, I was talking like this, so it wouldn't have been very good. So
like laryngitis.
Yeah,
ooh.
I had legit laryngitis. And as a person who's an avid talker like myself, that sucks. And I can't even sing in the car. I was trying to be funny while he was setting up stuff, and I was singing Adele, and the words can't even come out because I can't sing.
See, there you go. Here's what you do. So you got a hoarse throat. You talk. You whisper talk like you just were. Get really, really close to the microphone, and anybody that joins you on that particular podcast, they have to do the same thing. They can only whisper talk. So do a whole ASMR podcast.
That would be fun. I just talk like this. I need a pop filter, I think, if I did that. I don't have a pop filter.
Right.
Okay.
Probably.
So, one of these, I don't know if you'll know. The other two, you should know. Or at least know some of it. So let's start with the one you don't know.
One I don't.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you the title of the movie. And then if you don't know the movie, I will describe the movie to you. And you tell me what you think it's about. Okay. So A Lot Like Love.
No, don't know that one.
Okay, so it has Ashton Kutcher and Amanda Peet. Ring a bell at all?
Oh, okay. So am I supposed to tell you what I think this is about now?
Yeah. You didn't Google it, did you?
So we have an Ashton Kutcher movie and an Amanda Peet movie, and it's called A Lot Like Love. Yeah. And this is supposed to be dramatic, correct?
No, this is the black cover.
So this is the black cover. So this could be, we don't know. I'm not going to be told if this is comedy, drama, whatever.
Right.
It's just, okay, A Lot Like Love. I'm imagining that this is an Ashton Kutcher film where he and Amanda Pete get together for whatever reason and are not in love, but are pretending to be in love. So basically Amanda Pete's fooling her parents, like, leave me alone, I don't want to date anymore. And so she brings Ashton Kutcher in, and Ashton Kutcher, she presents as her fiance, even though they're not engaged or anything to that nature. They constantly bicker, they constantly fight. And eventually Ashton Kutcher does the same thing, but to a more passive degree. He sort of introduces her to his father. But it's not like he doesn't introduce her as his fiance, just sort of the girl that I'm dating. You don't have to worry, I'm not dating around anymore, Dad. This is the girl that I'm seeing. It's casual, but I'm not dating anymore. This is her. That's my best guess. It's a lot like love, but not quite.
So it says, and the spirit of When Harry Met Sally comes along a lot like love, a romantic comedy about the destiny and the possibilities of a chance encounter involving a close encounter of the happily ever after kind. Ashton Kutcher and Amanda Pete set off sparks as opposites who attract when they have a one-flight stand from LA to New York. When the trip's over, they are two and both... they are two. And both move on, but can't really let go. As they search for the love that doesn't end in disaster, they keep finding each other. And while the chemistry that first brought them together keeps generating heat, the timing is always wrong. This funny and disarming story of modern romance will have you falling in love over and over again.
I mean, I was off, but not far off.
Yeah, not far off. It's a romantic comedy. I've seen a lot of Ashton Kutcher movies. I like Amanda Pete. I don't see her in a lot of stuff anymore. I feel like she was a mainstay for a long time and then just kind of like disappeared. Am I wrong?
I feel like Amanda Pete could have been a really serious actress, but she got pigeonholed into weird, quirky romantic comedies.
And I think she got like the bitch character a lot. Like, you know.
And she was always like the bitch girlfriend or the crazy ex or the crazy person I'm currently dating, you know.
Yeah.
I've always liked her, though.
I liked her, too. I like a lot of movies that are like this. There's a movie called The Sure Thing. Have you ever heard of it?
That one I have heard of.
Oh, I love that movie. It's actually one of my favorites. A lot of people really love John Cusack in the one with the boombox above his head. Not a big fan.
Say Anything.
Yeah, Say Anything.
Ione Sky, yep.
Yeah, but I love A Sure Thing. I think it's great, and it's kind of like it gives me the same vibe as this because, you know, him and Daphne drive around, go on a long road trip together, and, you know, adventure ensues. They hate each other, and then do they really hate each other? I mean...
So I will give you both a favorite for Amanda Pete and a favorite for John Cusack, and an explanation of why John Cusack should have been in the Amanda Pete movie I'm going to mention.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. So favorite for John Cusack, Better Off Dead. I'm not sure if you've seen that one.
I have. It's been a really long time, but yes, I have.
One of my favorite John Cusack movies. I love him and Curtis Armstrong in that. They were fantastic. And we won't talk about the gentleman that went on to direct a lot of Nickelodeon TV shows and ended up being a very, very problematic individual. That being said, the other movie, Amanda Pete, one of my favorites of hers, has always been The Whole Nine Yards. Bruce Willis, Natasha Kinski? Is that what her name is?
I don't know.
The girl from she was in Species. That was her big movie, and then she kind of floated around into other roles, but this is also a good one for her. But it's Bruce Willis starring alongside of Matthew Perry in that film. And I really feel, I love Matthew Perry, don't get me wrong. And at this point, given things, I wouldn't replace him in anything, but at the time that I saw the movie, I thought that it would have been a perfect vehicle for John Cusack to play in that Matthew Perry role.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You know, I said that I haven't seen Amanda Peet in anything, but I forgot she was in Fatal Attraction, the TV series that came out like last year. Loved it. I thought she was
She
really
also
good.
played Patrick Flannery's psycho girlfriend in Simply Irresistible with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
It's a good movie.
Just about the girl who I guess had a magical crab or something to that nature. But every emotion that she had literally ended up in the food, and the people that ate the food felt those emotions.
Huh.
It's a good film.
That is, I've never.
I don't watch a lot of romantic comedies, so you gotta bear with me.
I'm trying to look and see what movies I like Amanda Peet's in.
Oh, there's a ton of them. She's done a lot of good stuff.
I feel like there's like one very specific movie that I really like that she's been in, but it must be a lot like Love. I have that movie. I don't see. It
must be that one. The one that I'm talking about. But Saving Silverman's a good movie for her. Mm-hmm. Where she basically plays the fiance to Jason Biggs, who's part of a Neil Diamond tribute band.
Yeah. I really like John Cusack in Serendipity.
Serendipity. Yeah, that's a good one. He's up and down though. There's a lot of things that he does. I think he really falls into the male lead romantic comedy area very well. But when he goes outside of it, he's sort of hit and miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a murder one that he's in that I liked. Murder in Room 12 to 8.
Trying to remember what it is.
There's a number.
Are you talking about the Stephen King film? The 1408?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
The one about I want to say a haunted hotel.
Yeah. I think
people keep repeatedly telling him not to go into 1408, and he ends up in there and never comes out.
Yeah. When I went to the movie theater to see that, the seat I was in was 1401 or 1408, or it was a very similar number. I think it was like one number less because they don't have that many seats in a theater, but it was very similar number. And there was like, I'm guessing it was ketchup, but it kind of looked like blood right over in the numbers. And I was like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? I was creeped out the whole time.
Another good film for him, and I actually did this on my podcast recently. Not recently, actually. Last year? Mid-year? Being John Malkovich. Mm. Which is essentially a film that sees a group of people who find a portal in this building that goes into the consciousness of John Cusack. Basically, they go in and they take over the consciousness of not John Cusack, my apologies, of John Malkovich.
Yeah.
And take over John Malkovich's body for a period of time before being ejected into this field off of a highway. So that's the exit. You don't come back out the door. You get spit out onto a field next to the highway.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
I really like him in 16 Candles, too.
With the headgear?
Yeah. Well, his sister has the headgear.
I thought that he had the headgear. Or am I thinking of something else?
No. In 16 Candles, his sister has the headgear. I love her. My sister hates Joan Cusack. She can't stand her. I love her.
I could have sworn there was an 80s movie where he played one of the geeky guys who wore headgear.
He might have braces, but I don't think he has headgear. I know his sister has headgear in that movie.
Right, the one played by Joan, his sister, Joan Cusack.
Yeah, because she has like a little doily on her sweater that she like dabs her face with. Okay. Do you think we've exhausted all of our stuff on A Lot Like Love?
We stopped talking about Ashton Kutcher. We fawned over Amanda Peet, and then ended up talking a lot about John Cusack.
And butter.
Mm-hmm. Butter, parquet.
So the next category I had was 80s, which 16 Candles was sitting there. It was available. I did not pick it.
Okay.
I know.
Another 80s movie?
It's very sad. But this time, so I had to pick an 80s film. So I picked Footloose.
Oh, Footloose. Who doesn't love Footloose?
You gotta cut loose, a footloose. I actually heard the song today and I was very excited.
Been working so hard. Yeah, I know. Footloose, really. John Lithgow, Kevin Bacon. Oh, wow. A whole list of people. I'm trying to remember some of the other people in it too now.
Penn.
Footloose is...
Not Sean Penn, but his brother.
Chris Penn.
Yeah,
Chris Penn. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
One of Laurie Singer's better movies.
The cover says he's a big city kid in a small town. They said he never win. He knew he had to. So if you look at the cover, because he's doing it looks like he's practicing karate because he has one fist out, one fist back, one leg down, and one leg up. And it looks like he's about to punch somebody. And it's called
I think I'm looking at a different cover altogether. I don't know what cover you're looking at. I was looking at a different cover altogether.
Well, you could be looking at the one for the newer one. I don't know.
No. I'm looking at it's like a traditional. It just says Footloose, and it sort of has like a bluish background. But he's wearing a Walkman.
Oh, that's not what.
And he looks like he's doing air guitar or something.
Mine's when he's very angsty and he's doing his gymnastics, dancing to a song. All by himself.
I need a hero or something.
No.
Or that nature.
It's the other one. He's like, I don't know. Oh no, that could be Anita Hero. Yeah, you could be correct. But he's very.
I just remember him aggressively dancing that entire scene, doing gymnastics, and
yeah.
There was a lot of dust clouds kicked up.
Yeah, that's the cover I have. Not the blue one.
No, I don't have that cover in front of me. There's a second cover there where there's a picture of him, you see his face, and then in the lower corner, he's got one fist pumped up in the air like Bender style at the end of Breakfast Club.
Yeah,
and he's just sort of fist pumping in the air, which I believe was the whole thing in that movie too.
Yes.
That, and I believe that this gave birth to a lot of 80s line dancing.
Probably. But if you were to pull this cover, the one that I have, you'd be like, what the hell is this movie about? You would have no idea. You'd be like, is he Daniel's son and he's trying to crane kick somebody? What is that?
Oh, I think I might have found it. Yeah, he's got one foot up in the air, one foot on the ground.
Yeah.
I think I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, it looks like he's about to just, kick somebody. And I wouldn't have thought that would be about dancing. Until you flip it over and then you see, dancing. A town without dancing.
Footloose, the Kevin Bacon interpretation of Karate Kid done to music.
Well, though, when I think of the Karate Kid, I think of Chicago. Every time I hear this one song, I think of Chicago, or I think of the Karate Kid. Do you know what song I'm talking about?
Okay. What song is that?
I don't know. When I hear it, I know it, and I think of the Karate Kid. I know what part it's at. It's when he's sitting on a hill with the girl, and those guys I think show up. It's been a really long time since I've seen the Karate Kid, but when I hear the song, I think of that movie.
Oh, that they almost every 80s movie they have that story where Tom Cruise was supposed to play this role because they wanted Tom Cruise to do everything in the 80s. For some reason,
would have been really weird. He wouldn't have.
Tom Cruise in Footloose.
Yeah.
only we can say it's weird, but if it had happened and we didn't see Kevin Bacon in this movie, would we have ever seen Kevin Bacon in anything?
Yeah. Huh. I mean, we wouldn't have 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
No, I never thought, I've always thought of Kevin Bacon in that dancing role. And I have never, outside of that one scene in Risky Business, I never thought of Tom Cruise as a dancer. And even with him in his underwear, I still don't.
Yeah. Oh, it's Glory of Love.
Glory of Love. Yeah. Okay.
Every time I hear that song, I think of the Karate Kid.
All right.
So if we had to go from, let's say, Ryan Reynolds to Kevin Bacon, can we do that in 6 moves?
Ryan Reynolds to Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, I just thought of some random person.
Oh, dear. I'm not good at 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon at all. Because you're trying to draw a parallel between, Kevin Bacon is directly related to a lot of things, isn't he?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, let's see here.
Oh yeah, no, I can give you. Nope, I can't give you anything. I got nothing.
Me and my friend used to do this all the time, and it wasn't just with Kevin Bacon.
Oh, okay. Here you go, Kevin Bacon.
People.
Here's Kevin. Here's as short as I can make this. Kevin Bacon starred. Nope. Do we have to do it movie by movie, or is it just people he's related to?
So he had to have been in a movie or a show with this person.
Oh dear. You're killing me. You put me on the spot for a 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon thing, and I really, really have to think of it because I was thinking of his wife, but I'm not sure if he's been in a movie with his wife.
He references his wife in a movie, but
No, I don't think that he's been in a movie with his wife, though. Has he?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Hmm.
Somewhere the podcast ghosts, aka listeners, are like, "Oh my God, how do you not know this?"
Yeah, they're basically like, "Moron, come on, I know this, come on." And I'm over here just, I got nothing, guys. I got nothing. I'm not sure that. Wait a minute. It's 1 Degree. Now that because Kevin Bacon and Ryan Reynolds were in a movie together, R.I.P.D.
Oh, well, there we go.
There's 1 Degree of Kevin Bacon right there.
I didn't even know that.
I think he played the bad guy, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, cool. I didn't know. I was just trying to think of like a now actor to Kevin Bacon.
What do you mean?
Like, well, that's why I just picked Ryan Reynolds, because he's a big actor now, not in the 80s.
I think before he had his resurgence, this game would have been a lot tougher to do. Like back when 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon was first invented, when like a broad portion of his work had been like the 90s and before.
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier to do now because he's been in a lot of other like smaller productions with large ensemble casts.
Well, just like he was in Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy. He was in their Christmas special. So
Kevin Bacon was?
Yeah. I mean, they stole him and he was in it.
Oh, okay. So
I highly recommend.
You would have been able to draw the parallels right there. If I haven't seen the Christmas special.
You should see it. It came out before the newest Guardian of the Galaxy.
Mind you, the Christmas special came out like after I had gotten this new job, and I have been working my tuchus off for the past like year or so.
Well, it didn't come out this Christmas. It came out last Christmas.
I thought it was this past Christmas. No, it wasn't?
No, it came out in 2022.
So then I'm just blissfully ignorant? Okay, good to know. Good to know.
I only know that because we recorded it for a podcast, and we didn't record this year for Christmas. So I guess you're not a listener, Chris.
Oh my! I am a listener. I listen to. I'm not going to say I've listened to every single podcast, but I have listened to at least 75%.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I am an avid listener and a lover of the Two Chicks Talkin Flicks. It's a great podcast. That is why you have an ad spot in the middle of my podcast.
That is true. So the girl, Lori Singer, I don't know if she's been in a lot of stuff.
Lori, you don't know that Lori Singer's been in a lot of stuff?
Has she been in a lot of stuff?
She was really big in the 80s. I know that
I assume that, but
as for what she's done outside of her 80s stuff, I mean, I can't say that I remember any of her recent stuff or if she's fallen into anything recently. I mean, she was tattooed across the 80s. Everything that she's done recently has been, like you were saying, like smaller productions, indie films, things that kind of are offbeat, out of the way.
I'm a bigger fan of Kenny Loggins than Lori Singer.
Well, I'm not a big fan of Lori Singer myself. I mean, outside of Footloose and The Man with One Red Shoe, that's about it.
Oh, I've heard of that movie. I've never seen it.
You've never seen The Man with One Red Shoe?
It's Tom Hanks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen it. It was always at the Blockbuster when I was a kid, and I always wanted to rent it, but there would be some other movie that would come up, and I'm like, well, I'm going to rent that instead.
It was one of his first films.
Yeah. I love Tom Hanks. I just haven't seen it.
I believe that's back when he was around the time that he was doing that TV show Bosom Buddies.
I've seen that.
I've seen Bosom Buddies too. Very problematic for today.
But I don't think they were necessarily making fun of transgendered people. I think they were just trying to be a woman.
Right, but you're also talking like...
But it was funny because it was two guys trying to be girls.
Two guys trying to be girls
is
to
problematic.
Basically gain access to an all-women's building.
But we thought it was really funny when, what's his face? I can't think of his name right now. Would pretend to be gay so he could live with the two ladies.
Yeah, John Ritter, Jack Tripper.
John Ritter. Yeah, Jack Tripper.
Come and knock on our door.
Come on, knock on our door.
Yeah. I mean, John Ritter is John Ritter, though.
I love John Ritter. It makes so there's Paul Holmes. He's a comedian. Looks very similar to John Ritter, but sounds exactly like him. It's not his son because his son looks just like him. Both of his sons do, but it's just a guy. I highly recommend you listen to his comedy because it's pretty funny. There's this one joke that he talks about Pierce, and it's really funny. But anyways, just imagine John Ritter's voice doing comedy and stand up, and it's pretty funny.
What is this guy's name?
I think it's Paul Holmes. Pete Holmes. Pete Holmes. Yeah.
Yes, he's actually currently in Night Court.
Is he? I watched Night Court.
He plays, the girl from Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
The one that plays Wolowitz's girlfriend/wife.
Yeah.
She's now Harry from Harry's daughter.
I've been watching it.
And that's her fiance.
Oh, I haven't been watching the seasons. If it started, we still have some from last year to finish.
Yeah, that was throughout last year. So if you watch the rest of it, you'll see him. He's in there.
Okay. I like him. But he does kind of give me that John Ritter feel. Like, if they were to make a biopic of John Ritter's life, I feel like he'd be a perfect person to do it. Or maybe his son.
I see what you're saying, though. Pete Holmes definitely has a John Ritter feel to him.
Yeah.
He has that wholesome thing going, too.
Yeah, he does. John Lithgow, what's he done? I'm just kidding.
John Lithgow, what's he done? What hasn't he done? Like, he's in everything.
He is.
Can you stop being in everything, John Lithgow? You're too good. You're too good for us.
Third Rock from the Sun, that's his, biggest thing, right?
Yeah, I just picked up that box set yesterday. The whole box set.
Weird. Random.
Yeah, well, it's not random. I'm actually preparing to purge myself of streaming services for a couple months to save some money.
Well, as you should, because they keep taking away all the movies, you know.
I'm just going to go with the free stuff. There's so many free things. Like, you can go through Tubi. I can go through I'm already paying for Prime. I'm not getting rid of that, but there's a lot of free stuff on there. Freevee. There's a lot of different sites.
Yeah.
Even the Roku channel gives away a lot for free.
I was having a lot of guests on, and I love the guests that have been on. That's not my quorum. And I love their picks of movies. My only problem is that most of them were not movies that I currently owned or were free anywhere or on the services that I currently had, which I have like all of them. So most of them I had to pay for, and I was like, damn it. I was like, what are the odds?
Now, if we're talking John Lithgow flicks from like the 80s, some of his better stuff was like The Manhattan Project and Harry and the Hendersons.
Yes. Yes. I love Harry and the Hendersons.
Harry and the Hendersons was hilarious.
Yes. It was a good movie. I haven't seen that in a really long time. I should watch that.
More obscurely, and I'm not sure if you've seen this film, and I want to bring up the name because, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension.
That is going to be a big no for me.
No. Okay. That's actually a really big film. If you look at the cast, you may want to check it out, but it is a weird, weird movie. This is a movie starring Clancy Brown, Ellen Barkin, Christopher Lloyd, Jeff Goldblum, Peter Weller's in it. I'm not sure if you know who Robert Ito, sorry. Yakov Smirnoff, who was the big Russian comic from the 80s. It's a pretty big cast. There's a lot of people in there that you recognize now and some people that have just sort of fallen off the face of the planet. But he actually stars as the bad guy in that film. So he's like a Russian scientist. Buckaroo Banzai is caught with his trusted allies, the Hong Kong Cavaliers, in a battle to the death between evil red aliens and good black aliens from Planet 10. Yeah, it's a weird movie.
Sounds weird.
It is.
Sounds very weird. I'm trying to look and see if there's any other movies that I really like of his.
Shrek.
Been on. Well, yes, Lord Farquaad.
He's Lord Farquaad. Who doesn't love Shrek?
I like Orange County too.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
There's a lot of good films that he's been in. Raising Cain is a particularly good film if you've ever seen it.
I have not.
I've
been to the fast food joint, but I've never.
Different kind of Cain there.
Ooh, Confessions of a Shopaholic. I've seen that. And Leap Year. He's the dad in Leap Year. I like that movie.
Okay.
Or New Year's
I have
Eve.
not seen Confessions of a Shopaholic, but I have seen Leap Year.
It's a good movie.
Okay.
He was Barney's dad on How I Met Your Mother. Let's see here. What else?
Okay.
What else is he in? Oh, Pitch Perfect 3. He was really good in that.
Was he in Pitch Perfect 3? What was he in that?
He was Fat Amy's dad. He has an accent. Oh, he's in Killers of the Flower Moon. Hey, good job, John Lithgow. Look at you. Still working.
Oh, I haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon yet. So
I haven't either. I just, as much as I love movies, just the thought of being at a movie theater for like over 3 hours bums me out.
I like to do things in the comfort of my own home so that if I have to have a bathroom break, I can go.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
I'm not going to miss anything.
I love a good 3 hour movie, but they should bring back the bathroom break in the middle. And I read a news article about that movies are starting to get longer now. And, that they're thinking about bringing in the bathroom break.
Really?
I think that would just confuse some people. So that might not be a very good idea, but, unless you make it abundantly clear that there's a bathroom break, I think a lot of people will just be like, oh, I guess it's over.
Do you think that in movie theaters, they should have a mandatory intermission for movies that are around 3 hours?
Yeah. Like an hour and a half, just,
Like halfway through the movie, in the middle of a climactic moment, just cut it off and put up that thing that goes, let's all go to the lobby.
There's a lot of times, though, in movies like that I'm like, there's so much exposition that you could have gotten rid of that you didn't need. Unless it's very vital. Like, okay, Titanic, that's a long movie, right? But I can't really think of anything in that movie that shouldn't be in there. Like,
I've got an idea.
I think it's all pretty much flows pretty good. Like, I don't feel like you're sitting there thinking, good God, is this movie ever going to be over? There's some movies that you're like, oh, this movie is dragging on for a long time. But I don't feel like that one feels that way. Am I wrong?
I mean, well, you talked about Titanic. Do you know how many times I've seen that movie?
A lot.
When that movie first came out, I had a lot of female friends, and for some reason, all of them wanted me to take them to that movie.
Yeah.
So I ended up seeing within the first 2 weeks of the movie having been out, I saw it maybe 5 or 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of Titanic.
Yeah.
It really is. I feel like, okay, here's an idea. For movie theaters, when you're sitting there, you have long movies, 3 hour plus movies. There's been movies out there that are almost 4 hours plus long. Most movie theaters, they have seats that recline. They have seats that put your feet up. You can put your drinks on either side. I want a seat that has a sensor in it. So all movie theaters have their own apps now, right?
Yeah.
And there should be a sensor in your seat. So if you have to get up and go to the bathroom, the app senses that you are getting up from your seat and starts to play the movie on your phone. So you can go to the bathroom and you won't miss anything.
That would be nice. Well, like, okay, so if you went and saw, oh God, what is that Leo movie I'm trying to think of? With the bear.
Okay.
What movie is that movie?
The Bear?
No, it's with a bear.
Cocaine Bear?
No. It has Leonardo
there's a lot of bear movies. So
You're not working with me here.
I'm not working with. Well, you're not. You're giving me a bear. There's a lot of bear. There's Yogi Bear. We can watch that.
No, I said the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and the
Revenant.
The Revenant. Thank you. I was almost there. So if I was sitting, because that's a long movie, if I was sitting there in the theater watching The Revenant and it just stopped all of a sudden to let us go to the bathroom, I would have been pissed because in that movie, you're sitting there, you're so like, I don't even think I was warm because the theater, or cold because the theater was cold. I was cold because the movie pulled you in so much that I was like getting shivers because they're so cold, Okay. And I was like so engrossed in this movie. And if it had just stopped to be like, okay, we're going to issue a 10-minute bathroom break, I would have been pissed. Or in A Quiet Place, like, when everything is so quiet in that movie and, did you ever see it?
Yes, I've seen A Quiet Place.
Okay, did you go to the theater to see it, or did you want to watch it at home?
No. I watched it at home. I rarely go to the theaters.
Dude, you missed out, bro. Like, watching that in the theater, it was pin silent. Like, so quiet.
The COVID paranoia is strong with this one.
Had someone been sitting there, like, snacking on a snack behind me, it would have just ruined the whole movie. Like, I feel like everybody was like, okay, we're going to eat our popcorn before the movie starts because
200 people all yelling shh at the same time.
Like, it was so quiet. And if they had just like stopped it to have a bathroom break, that would have been not cool.
Right.
But these new movies, I heard they're just really, really long. And I just wonder, like, is everything in that movie necessary? Could this be broken up into 2 movies?
Well, there are some movies that, even though they're that long, are still short compared to what the original vision that the director had for it.
True.
Was. I mean, take the Lord of the Rings movies for that matter. Like every single one of them, you got the movie that you saw in the theaters, and then you go home and you purchase it on DVD, Blu-ray, whatever you're watching it on. And there's a director's edition of these things that adds like 30 minutes to the movie, something that was already 3 hours and 30 minutes in the theater.
Like, I wonder if it would serve them better just to have part 1 and 2 of something like that.
Why not just break it down to a TV series? You know?
Well, there is that now, but, you know, I'm just trying to think, like, once you get people, obviously Oppenheimer did really well because the Barbie movie was at the same time and people were doing this whole Barbie Oppenheimer thing.
Right.
And,
Barbenheimer.
Yeah, Barbieheimer. But had that not happened, would Oppenheimer have had the success that it did? Being as long as it is. Because people's like ADD and their ability to pay attention for a long amount of time it's so hard to get people to stop and slow down and watch something for that long of time nowadays. Like, unless it's something incredible, it makes sense almost to break it up or to do it, like streaming, like you said.
Like with it, how they did it a part 1 and a part 2. You knew it was going to be long anyway.
Yeah.
So they decided to do part 1 and part 2.
Yeah. Be like, but then what you could do is you could have all those extra little things that you wanted in there. You know, you wanted that extended scene. You wanted that blue apple, you know, I don't know. I don't know what's in the movie. I haven't seen it, but just saying, like, you do this really cool shot and you really, really want it, but for time reasons you can't have it. Well, now you can because you just did 2 separate movies.
What about a lower cost monthly episodic theater release? So a film that you're breaking up into sections, that they release it almost like an episodic television show, or releasing it like it's like they do a mini series on TV, except for, okay, this month we're releasing part 1. This month we're releasing part 2. This month we're releasing part 3. And over those 3 months' time, you buy 1 ticket to watch the entire film, and you can come back each month.
You know,
or you can choose to purchase 1 ticket each time you go in.
I guarantee you the reason why they don't is because of money. Because every movie that they put out for that same movie would mean it's another movie and not the same movie. So then they'd have to pay their actors for a second movie, even though they did it all in the same movie. I'm sure that's probably why.
Fair enough. It's an idea. It needs to be fleshed out.
Yeah, I like that idea. I was thinking like 2 weeks after the first one, then that will, all the people that are hearing all the good buzz about, or maybe 3 weeks, they hear all the good buzz about that. So then, you know, the next wave of people go to see part 2 as the other people are seeing part 1. And they're like, well, I might as well go and watch the second one because it's out now.
So all of them are out there. So it's part 3's coming out, part 1's starting to leave the theaters. So there's a rush, if you haven't seen any of it, to come in and watch part 1 again.
I could see where it could work.
Right.
You know, I just read today that part-time jobs are becoming a thing again for the youth of a nation. So I didn't know that wasn't a thing. I thought they were still doing part-time jobs, but apparently they had left the workforce and now they're headed back. So
why would you do a part-time job? By nature, in the United States, if you do a part-time job, your job doesn't have to provide you most benefits.
Well, I think it was mostly for teenagers and college kids.
So just get a little extra beer money?
Well, I think it's because parents are like, we can't afford that. So if you want it, you better go. If you want that Stanley, you better go and get yourself a part-time job.
I want to work a job, but I don't want to commit to it.
Well, honestly, these kids, I mean, I don't have kids, so I really can't say anything. You have kids.
I got 2.
But, they have had it pretty easy, this gravy train. School is easier for them. They don't have to have jobs. Like, I had a job. my sophomore, junior, and senior year of high school. Like, it was a thing. And apparently lately it has not been a thing. And
I had a lot of part-time jobs when I was younger, but that was because I just couldn't commit to a job. I bounced around a lot.
Well, remember when they had that whole like quiet quitting phenomenon, like last year, the year before, or something like that?
Where people would just walk out?
No, they were just quiet quitting. They would just stop doing their job for whatever reason. Because
it's essentially the same. Just, okay, I'm done. You know, not say anything. You basically ghosted your job.
When I heard about that Alaskan airline and how people didn't tighten the bolts all the way for the plug door, all I can think is, I bet that was a quiet quitter.
Just some guy that was in the middle of like putting the bolts on the plane's door and just like,
it's good enough.
I'm done with this, and just walked away. Is it done, man? No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Let them fly.
Or they had so many people that quit because they weren't getting paid enough or whatever the reason. They were like, we don't have time to turn this extra quarter inch on each one of these bolts. It's good enough. What is it going to be sucked out? I'm sure it's fine. So just let it go. But that's the first thing that comes to my head when I hear this stuff. Like, you'll hear an explosion at a factory, or you hear this happened, that happened. And all I can think is all those quiet quitters. It's all their fault because they gave up.
Mike, Joe, Jerry, and Jeff, they didn't show up for work today, and we have to tighten the bolts on this door. Well, tell Donald to go, tighten the bolts on the door. But he's a baggage handler. We don't have anybody else. Have him do it.
Yeah.
Righty tighty, lefty loosey, or is it lefty tighty, righty loosey?
Speaking of baggage, how does it
door blows off? Oh, yes, I was wrong.
Onto the plane, and then doesn't make it to its destination? That doesn't make sense. Make it make sense.
Otherwise known as the plot to the Langoliers.
But we all experience this. We put 2 socks in the washer, and then they don't both show up to the dryer. So,
Yeah, one comes out of the dryer, the other one gets spit out the dryer lint vet somehow. There's a magic hole in my dryer somewhere. I'm sure if you pull out the drum, you'll find all those lost socks just insulating the dryer.
And that's how house fires start. All right. So we have blown through a lot of topics. So the last movie we have is a drama. Okay. It stars 6 women. What movie?
A drama with 6 women.
Yeah. What movie do you think it is?
This is so this is a random drama starring 6 women?
Yeah, and it doesn't have little in the title.
It doesn't have little in the title?
No.
So it's not Little Women?
Correct.
Okay. Is it like Little Women?
I guess you
Is it along the same vein as Little Women, or are we talking not a period piece at all?
It is not a period piece.
It is not a period. Okay, so that's so it's more of a modern thing. Is it an 80s thing?
It is a modern thing.
Thing.
80s, maybe.
6 women. I got 2 things that pop into my head, and I'm probably wrong on both of them. So I'm going to say Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood or Black Box. Though that's not a black box. No, you don't. It's not a black box. It's just drama, right?
Yeah, it's just drama.
Okay, or Steel Magnolias.
Ding 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 ding.
I got. Oh wow, really?
Yeah. So tell me
which version. The 2 versions. Which one?
The original.
The original. Oh, that's even better. It's been a while since I've seen it, though.
Tell me your thoughts on Steel Magnolias.
I don't watch a lot of... I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not a misogynist or anything like that, but I don't watch a lot of female-driven dramas from back in the 80s. And that was like late 80s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so.
There are a handful of movies here and there, like... what is that, Mystic Pizza, also starring Julia Roberts.
Yes.
But I think Steel Magnolias was the film that really just sort of, it's right up there with Pretty Woman for what really gave her stardom back in the 80s.
Yeah.
As much as I love the entire cast, like Julia Roberts really sort of shone the rest of them.
Yeah.
The entire cast is amazing. I mean, you know, Shirley MacLaine, Olympia Dukakis, Sally Field, for Christ's sakes. I mean,
Dolly Parton.
Huh?
Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton. Well, yeah, I guess Dolly Parton was still in her acting groove in the 80s. I never really liked Dolly Parton as an actress outside of maybe what is it, 9 to 5?
Shut your mouth, sir. Have you not ever seen The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas?
Okay.
Burt Reynolds.
I'm just saying that, like, I like her music. Love Dolly Parton's music. I was never a really big fan of her acting. That's just me. This is a personal opinion. I don't shit on anybody that loves Dolly Parton, and I'm realized that I'm talking to a Texan here, and I'm about to get myself killed.
No, I didn't grow up in Texas. It's okay.
No? Oh, okay. But you seem to have some strong feelings about, you know, Dolly Parton as an actress.
Just The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. It's a really good movie.
That's a great film, though. Yeah, it's just.
I think actually filmed. Part of it was filmed in my where I went to college.
I think my problem would have been that the Disneyfied version of her. Like, I dealt with two kids growing up that loved Disney, and my daughter was really big into the Hannah Montana thing, and you know, I just didn't like the whole thing that she did in there. It's like, you did some great movies back in the 80s. Why are you doing this? You could do some great movies again. You don't need to do this.
Yeah. Well, I love this movie, and there's just a few things in it that I say on a near, like, constant basis is like, drink your juice, Shelby. Drink your juice. Or when she's like, oh, my colors, the blush and bashful. Your colors are pink and pink.
No, you're gonna make me watch this again, right?
Sure. You can.
I mean, I remember liking the movie back when I watched it, but it was a long time ago. It's like, I think I may have even, the only time I watched this film was when I was still living at home.
Oh, wow.
With my family. That was 25 years ago.
One of my favorite parts is when, I mean, it's not my favorite because obviously she's dead, but when Julia Roberts' character is dead and they're at the funeral and her friend says, here, hit Weezer. And then they all start laughing. Poor Weezer. She's my favorite character. She's evil. You know, I give April a lot of shit about loving villains, but I kind of like villains. But I like villains with a heart of gold.
There is a such thing as a deplorable villain, and there's a likable villain.
Yeah, she's a likable villain.
You just can't help falling in love with.
Yeah, and she's really just a teddy bear. She just seems gruff. That's all. But I love the relationship she has with Sally Field's husband in the movie. Like, they just are angsty for no reason. I bet they did it back in the day. Right. Just saying. Or she had a crush on him, you know.
What's your favorite Julia Roberts movie?
Ooh. One of them is American Sweetheart. America's
Sweetheart.
John Cusack.
That love of John Cusack. Well, John Cusack, Billy Crystal. I mean,
it all comes back around.
That was a great film. Oh, I forgot about American Sweethearts.
Yes, it's a good movie.
It's been a long time. It's one of those movies that I think I've watched several times after having watched it the first time, and then just for some reason I haven't picked it up since. You
know, my sister quoted it the other day, actually.
Really?
Yeah. The guy who's in the movie who is on The Simpsons, who does all the voices.
Hank Azaria?
Yeah. He says something, and she quoted the thing that he says in the movie the other day to me, and we both started laughing. I haven't watched that movie in a while either. But.
Yeah, it's one of those that I watched a lot, and then I don't think I've seen it maybe in a good 10 years. Now, I may have to start reapproaching some of these Julia Roberts films I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, I like that.
Any other ones come to mind?
Well, obviously, I love My Best Friend's Wedding. She is great in that movie. She's a good villain.
Okay, that's a good standard. That's a good standard romantic comedy.
You know,
that falls into that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, one of my favorite things, and this has nothing to do with the movie at all.
Okay.
I don't watch the Ellen show, but I watched like this clip of her scaring people. And she had Julia Roberts on one time, and Julia was talking about how she lives to scare her children. And one of my favorite things to do is to scare people. I thrive on scaring people. Like, if I could just jump out and just you fall to the floor, it's a good day for me personally.
You like scaring people?
I love to scare people. Like, especially if I do it not on purpose. Like, if I just like walk out of a dark room and you happen to be walking by and I scare the living crap out of you, good day for me. Love it. Love it.
I used to enjoy scaring kids.
I think I would. But Julia Roberts was saying how she loves to scare her children. And she goes, they jump up so high and they're like arms spread out. And she was dying laughing. She was laughing so hard about traumatizing her children by scaring them all the time. And it was hysterical. And I've never felt more akin to Julia Roberts than I did in that moment.
Have you ever seen those TikToks or those? There's a series of them of these people that are just sitting next to their significant other, and they scare the shit out of them by like just for no reason out in the middle of nowhere, just panicking about something invisible that's not there, and then they run out of the room, and the other person panics like, "What the hell is it? What's going on? What?"
Yeah,
they just absolutely freak out. Yeah, I think I like those. I could get into that. But I think that both my son and my wife would probably kill me for trying to scare them like that.
I do like the ones where people are driving in the car and they're all of a sudden like, ah! The person's sleeping next to them.
I'm very wary of scaring people that might try to seek vengeance afterwards.
Yeah. Well, okay. This is a good example. So I used to do this thing. No wonder why I don't have a lot of friends, but when I worked in a real retail place, people would come over to me and they would give me like their returns or whatever. And it was employees, not customers. I would just kind of like flick it out of their hand and it would drop on the floor and I'd pick it up and we'd laugh or whatever. And I would do it to the same person like all the time. So they knew it was going to happen. Right. And one day they did it to their sister, but their sister... They had made themselves a milkshake or something and they knocked it out of their hands. But what they didn't realize is that it was a glass and not a plastic glass. And so it broke and shattered everywhere. And I go, okay, see, you have to know what is in their hands before you just go throwing it out of their hands. Like, yeah,
you can't just thump the thing and then, shit, that was glass. All right. Yeah.
You can't just,
I can tell you my favorite Julia Roberts movies.
Okay, yes, please do.
And it's a handful that stick out in my mind, some for good reasons, some for not so great reasons. Top one that I probably watched a lot.
When she's a whore?
With my, huh?
I said when she plays a whore.
No. It's not what you would say. It's not you. Okay. It's not a movie that you would think that I would say is one of the movies that I've watched the most from her catalog. So I'll give you a guess before we get into
it. Snow White.
No.
Okay. Mystic Pizza.
I did watch Mystic Pizza a lot, but that is not one of the ones that I've watched the most.
Okay. What is it?
Dying Young.
Oh, never heard of it.
So this goes along a theme that it just sort of. I watched these when I was a lot younger, and that what movie is about her dealing with her boyfriend, I believe, or her husband, and his battle with cancer.
Oh,
and so it was a pretty powerful film, and it's one of those movies that like just stuck out in my head, and I've never been able to get it out of my head. And I watch it every once in a while just to remind myself what it's about.
Yeah.
I'm due, actually. I'm going to go find a copy, but it's definitely something I would recommend if you like something that'll give you a good cry. I don't know. Do you like something that'll give you a good cry?
Depends on my mood.
Well, that's a good one. On the other end of the spectrum, Flatliners is a great film.
Okay. I think I've seen it. It's been a really long time.
They did a recent remake of it that was garbage, but like it's Kiefer Sutherland, Kevin Bacon, Julia Roberts, Oliver Platt, and William Baldwin. And they're basically medical students who are testing basically the great beyond. So they want to know what happens after death. And so they each go under, and these medical students flatline each other, and then bring everybody back to see what they saw after they had died.
That sounds like a malpractice waiting to happen.
And something follows them back and starts to haunt them.
Oh, of course.
Yes. So it goes from medical experiment to horror movie very quickly.
You know, I haven't seen a lot of Sally Field's work.
No?
I've seen quite a bit, but
Not Without My Daughter?
No, never seen that.
You've never okay. That's a big one. Not Without My Daughter is a really big one for her.
I've seen Smokey and the Bandit.
Okay, well, I mean, you professed a love for
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds just a few moments ago. So I can see that you like. I can see you liking that.
My sister loves Smokey and the Bandit. That's probably why I've seen it a lot. I've seen her in Forrest Gump, obviously.
Obviously, I mean, who hasn't? Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire, yes, it's a good one.
That's a big one.
I was actually thinking about that movie earlier today. But I haven't
random one of hers. Oh, go ahead.
I haven't seen the one that she won her Oscar for. But I did use the meme like a week ago about the "you like me, you really like me."
You tolerate me, you really tolerate me. She was Aunt May in The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes.
The Andrew Garfield version, if I'm not mistaken. Eye for an Eye is a really good film of hers. Another movie with Kiefer Sutherland in it is basically this woman is attacked by him, and it's a psychological thriller where she's basically trying to protect herself throughout these court proceedings against this gentleman who attacked her. It's her, Kiefer Sutherland, Ed Harris. It's a good film.
And then the other three ladies, I know Daryl Hannah, she was in 10, right? Or Splash?
In 10? Yeah. Good. She was in 10. She was in Kill Bill. Splash, of course, yes. Wait, 10? No, she wasn't in 10.
Oh, that was a different lady.
That's Bo Derek.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Another blonde altogether.
Another beach movie. And then Olympia Dukakis. Olympia, yeah. I've seen her and stuff. I know I have, but I couldn't figure out what movie I know her from. Or
she's one of those names that you hear frequently, but it's like, can I place a movie that they're actually in? She was in every one of the Look Who's Talking movies, but do you remember her in Look Who's Talking?
No.
Without, oh yeah, that's right. She was in those. You hear her name and that's what it springs up.
She's the mom.
Right.
Yes. I do love Look Who's Talking. And then Shirley MacLaine, I know she's in a ton of stuff, but I can't off the top of my head be like, oh God, I love her work in this.
Shirley MacLaine has been big forever. She's been big since like the 1970s, 60s. Been a while. She's been in like everything.
Yeah, she's been tons and tons.
Terms of Endearment was a big film for her. Mm-hmm. She was in Rumor Has It with now I'm trying to remember her name. Why? Rachel from Friends. Why is my brain not working?
Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston. Why can I not remember that name? Wow, it's been a long workday. I think Shirley MacLaine was also in Bewitched. I think she played Nicole Kidman's mom, like the actual witch.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the TV show, and I was like, that's not her. They look alike. No, but now
she was in the movie.
Yeah, now I get it. I was like, oh wait, okay.
She played in Dora.
Let's see here. She was in 3 episodes of Downton Abbey. I didn't know that.
I'm not surprised. Huh. I haven't watched Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey.
She was in Valentine's Day, which I think has Julia Roberts in it.
She was in by far the worst Nicolas Cage film ever made. Okay. Guarding Tess. Yeah. Have you never seen that movie?
I've heard of it, but I had not seen it.
Basically, Nicolas Cage is a Secret Service agent who is selected to guard a former First Lady, played by Shirley MacLaine.
You know what? I think I have seen it when I was a kid.
It's right up there with Sylvester Stallone and Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Yes. I've seen that too. And is that Estelle Getty?
Yeah, that was Estelle Getty.
Yeah.
Back when she was in like her Golden Girl days.
Yes.
You know the whole story behind that movie, right?
Cannonball Run, she was in. Turns of Endearment.
She was.
No. What's the story?
You don't? Oh, that Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Basically, Arnold Schwarzenegger played a joke on Sylvester Stallone. Basically, he knew that the movie was absolute garbage, but he knew that if he basically pumped it up in the media, said like, oh, I want that role, I'm going to get that role, that Sylvester Stallone would push really hard to get the role.
Oh, wow.
Because there was a whole back and forth between them about who was the biggest action star back in the 80s and 90s. So he pushed really hard, out front, saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna get this role. I'm gonna be the lead actor in this." And then Sylvester Stallone pushed really hard and got the lead role, only for Arnold to kind of sit back and go, "Yeah, I didn't want that anyway."
Wow.
So yeah, that was a prank pulled by Arnold Schwarzenegger that convinced him to pick up that role, which was absolute garbage.
That's funny.
Sylvester Stallone has never been a good comedic actor. Never. No, he's not funny. Whereas Arnold Schwarzenegger transitioned to comedy with no problem. Because Arnold is just completely funny.
Well, anything else about Steel Magnolias or the cast?
Anything else about Steel Magnolias or the cast? Well, the cast is even more diverse than just the female members of the cast.
Yeah, we have Dylan McDermott, who gets confused with Dylan Mulroney.
Mulroney or something like that.
Yeah, from My Best Friend's Wedding. That also stars Julia Roberts.
Who do you think's the better actor, Dylan McDermott or Dylan Mulroney?
The latter.
Okay, I think it's. I don't think it's Dylan. I think it's Dermot.
Dermot. Yeah, that's it.
Dermot.
That's why their names get confused. Dylan McDermott.
But
Dermot Mulroney. Yeah.
In defense of Dylan McDermott. Oh, man, I'm gonna mix these these names up in my head. Jeez. He is in one of my favorite movies with Matthew Perry in it.
The whole 9
Matthew Perry and Nev Campbell and him in Three to Tango.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
So I always thought that was a pretty good film. If you ever get a chance to see it and you get to see the scene where he eats a tuna melt and then immediately regrets eating the tuna melt, it is the best.
Well, I really like The Family Stone. I didn't watch it this year because it's about a mom that dies, and I couldn't.
Oh, okay.
But it has Dermot Mulroney in it, and I like him, so that's why I picked him.
Dermot Mulroney is also in a movie with John Cusack. One of his more serious films, Runaway Jury.
Oh, okay. He was also on The New Girl, which is a TV show.
That's right, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Wait, no. I thought that was the other guy.
No, it was Dermot Mulroney.
Okay. All right. I could have sworn it was the other guy. Is the other guy also in that?
I don't think so. I don't remember him being on New Girl.
Okay. I'm talking Dylan McDermott now. I think I mixed up the names. Like, I was trying hard not to, that my brain went, Dylan McDermott was the one in Runaway Jury that I was talking about. And you're talking about the other guy. So that was like, wait a minute, is he? No, I don't think Dylan McDermott was in.
Yeah, because I thought you said Dermot Mulroney was in the Runaway Jury.
Nope, the name and the thing. Oh, jeez. Mind you, this is my brain sometimes after work. Like, you're better catching me really early in the morning. Once we get to like 9 o'clock at night and my brain starts to shut off, I do things like I talk an entire podcast about Will Ferrell, accidentally calling him Will Smith several times. That's the kind of thing that I do.
That would be very interesting.
Yeah, I did. There's a podcast out there. I can't remember which one, but there is one of my podcasts where we literally were talking about Will Ferrell, and Nico was not really a big fan of Will Ferrell. She has this whole punchable face thing, and there's like a whole list of every male actor ever. I'm trying to find guys that are not on her list, and I can't.
I have the same list, but it's for females, and Nicole Kidman is like top on that list. A next closest, maybe ahead of her, depending on the day, is Scarlett Johansson. So I get it.
I don't have any punchable faces.
It's not a punchable face. It's just actresses that I can't stand. And for some reason, I can't stand either of them. I watch their movies, but I begrudgingly watch them.
Actually, there is one punchable face. I only have one.
Okay, who is it?
And I don't know why, because I like the two movies that I can remember him being in, but he just has a punchable face. Bill Winters.
Okay.
The guy that he played a vampire in The Lost Boys, but he was also in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure as Keanu's buddy.
Oh, okay.
Bill Winters, that guy. He's just always had this face and just if I could just, yeah. That was more of a visual joke there, but you get what I mean.
I don't see him. I'm not bringing up Bill Winters.
Bill Winters?
Yeah, no.
Did I name him wrong? Is it not Bill Winters?
I don't know.
Oh, that's a different guy. You know what? I'm going to look at Bill and Ted. Maybe I got his name wrong.
I thought you were talking about Bill Withers at first. And
no.
Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone got stuck in my head.
It's because his name is Bill S. Preston in the damn movie, and his name is actually Alex Winter.
Oh, okay.
Alex Winter.
I can see how that would
happen.
That's
my problem.
I thought I knew who you were talking about, and then I was like, I don't see him.
No.
He does kind of have a
This is that thing.
Face.
9 o'clock at night, I start to mix up names. It's just a jumble up there.
Oh, it's okay. It happens to the best of us.
9 o'clock at night and after is not my most coherent hours.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, I think this was a fun experiment. I had a good time. We discussed a lot of different things.
A lot. Yes.
Without really discussing anything at all.
This is basically the Seinfeld episode. A podcast episode about nothing.
Yes. So if people want to come listen to your podcast, where can they find you?
Where can't they find me?
That's true.
We're everywhere. We're losing actually different things. Like Google is no longer doing their own podcasting things. Been eaten up by YouTube. So YouTube has their own podcasting area now, and we're there.
Which is weird because I go and look at I downloaded all mine. I did the RSS feed, and it doesn't show any of mine under podcasts. It shows them all under videos, which I don't understand.
Like there's so many apps that used to do podcasting that don't do it anymore because they haven't figured out the best way to make money at it.
Yeah.
That being said, you can find us in all the standard areas. Go to Apple, Spotify. We're on YouTube, just not in video form yet. I don't think Stitcher exists anymore, but there's, places like Breaker, Podbean, and pretty much anywhere where you're going to listen to your podcasts. We're even on Audible. You can listen to us on Audible.
Hey.
Yeah. I don't know that you're going to pay for a subscription to Audible just to listen to us for free. That makes no sense. And hopefully, I'm going to just shout out one little thing. Hopefully by the beginning to end of March this year, we will have a couple of other podcasts out. We're going to start doing a television series-based podcast.
Ooh.
We're going to start with Friends and Buffy, the Vampire Slayer.
You're going to talk about Friends?
We're going to talk about Friends, and we're going to talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Are you going to do every episode of Friends, or just?
Yes, we are.
And
here's the fun thing. The two people that I have on the podcast, one has never seen a single episode of Buffy, and the other one has never seen a single episode of Friends.
Shut your mouth.
So we're basically going to get a first-time experience, people watching shows from basically the 90s that have never seen these shows before.
Have I ever told you I'm like the biggest Friends fan you'll ever find?
I think we've had this discussion.
And I've gone to multiple Friends trivia nights and won.
Do you have the unedited box sets?
I have the original, I got them every season, and they have the extra stuff on them.
You are a fan. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. I got them when they were like $40 a piece.
Right. Back when they had those big box sets, they re-released them into these smaller, more compact DVD sets at Target just a few years back. So they put all the unedited episodes out again. But they did it and they repackaged it in these kind of white packaging, and that's what I have. I used to have the other one.
Actually, if you see my TikTok for this episode, you'll probably see a glimpse of them because they're with all my DVDs.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to go take a look at that. Where's your TikTok?
It's at Two Chicks Talkin Flicks. It's not up yet, but it will be.
Well, yes, but I'm getting you to shout out your own TikTok on your own podcast.
Yeah, Two Chicks Talkin Flicks on TikTok and everywhere else except for X because we don't do it.
I'm not all about shouting myself out. I want to make sure you're talking about you. This is your podcast.
Well, that's exciting. So when you, there are several episodes that are my favorite episodes. When you get to those episodes, I got to be on because.
Right. There's a lot of great episodes.
Number one, first and foremost, because I believe it'll be the first one you get to, it is the one where nobody's ready. Nobody's ready. That's my favorite episode. And I have a lot to say. So you, or when, the one with the embryos.
Well, if you'd like to join us for a few episodes, Miss Superfan, you're more than welcome to.
Always. I watched Buffy, but I didn't watch it. I mean, I watched the first 10 years of it solidly. And then somewhere in the ethers when she went to college, I stopped watching.
We're trying to discuss whether or not we want to watch the television series and then continue on, because they even went so far as to have like further seasons, but in comic book form. Mm. So how different the comic books ended up being from the actual series, which in comic book form, you're allowed to go away from being a little bit more restricted by television.
Yeah.
Because, special effects budgets, those are pretty pricey. But yeah, and then the other podcast thing that we're doing is, I think I've discussed this with a few people prior, but we're going to be doing sort of a cinema-based fun and games kind of thing, where we used to do pitch storm things where we'd pitch movies, and we still do, except for now we've geared away from doing just random ones, and we're pitching how would you make a sequel to this film.
Ooh, fun.
So movies that don't necessarily need sequels, or how would you have done the sequel or the remake. So that's what we're currently doing on the podcast. We're taking the fun and games and moving it to something else. So we had a whole Romancing the Thunderdome thing we were going to do. We are still doing that. It's just we want to do it as sort of like one season of the podcast. Of its own thing.
So
take it out of the Cinematic Anarchy format and make it its own thing.
Okay. I like it. This has nothing to do with any of what you just said, but Melissa Joan Hart, Sabrina, and Will Friedle, who played the older brother on Boy Meets World, they actually wrote a movie together. And it's basically where the two people in the movie were doing a movie in the 90s, but whatever happened, production shut down and they never finished the movie. So now they're coming back together with all their friends and they're finishing the movie decades later as they're still those kids from the 90s. So it's going to have all these people from our favorite actors and actresses from the 90s in it.
That'll be interesting.
Yes. And
I wonder if it was intentional that they shut it down so that they could do it with the same actors?
No. So they wrote a movie that was about this. That this happened. It's fake. It didn't actually happen. So they wrote this movie saying that this happened to these two people and they decided to finish the movie because it was really good or whatever. And so they're coming back and playing themselves as they were in the 90s. And I was like, that sounds amazing. So when you said your sequel movie, it popped in my head. I thought I had to tell you.
All right. I understand where you went with that now. I was a little lost for a second. You brought me back.
Yes. Because I was like, that would be, something I would say, be like, well, what they should have done this or they should have done that or whatever. So
okay,
that took a weird turn. I'm sorry.
You got to float me a little bit of information on that because I don't think I've heard. I've heard a lot of Melissa Joan Hart stuff because my wife is very, very much obsessed with the whole Sabrina thing.
So I'm a little behind on Pod Meets World, which is where they talked about it. But it was sometime a few months ago, so I know that they're working on it. I think they're about to start filming when they were talking about it. So seems like it's gonna.
We may see something about it soon.
Yeah, very exciting stuff.
So, I'll keep an ear out.
Yes. Well, let me know if you need my friends trivia. I have friends trivia. I have two different Friends trivia games, by the way. So
I just got the Friends Trivial Pursuit game.
Oh, fun. So if you need someone to come on and be a game show host, a Friends trivia.
You know that you have an open invite to any podcast that I do.
Sweet. All right. Well, nobody cares about us rambling about stuff that they aren't involved in. So I guess until next time, toodles. This episode was produced by Two Chicks Talkin Flicks Music was produced by Michael Giovanni. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to be a part of the show, have a movie suggestion, or just want to give us some love, you can email us at twochickstalkinflicks@gmail.com. Thanks, guys. Toodles.